Growing up, I believed marriage was a fortress, not a fairy tale, not some movie version of love, but a solid, unshakable thing. My parents had that. Same house for 35 years. Dad made breakfast every Sunday. Mom laughed at the same dumb jokes. I thought, yeah, that's what life's supposed to be. So when I met Kate in college, bright, outgoing, absolutely magnetic, I figured I'd found my person. I was quiet, methodical. She lit up every room. We balanced each other. Or so I thought. I'm Alex Miller. I'm 38. I work as an aerospace engineer in Colorado Springs. Kate, 36, works in HR for a multinational firm. We've been married almost 14 years. 2 daughters, Lily, 10, and Sophie, 8. From the outside, we looked like the American dream. 2 steady incomes, a house in a quiet neighborhood, summer road trips, Christmas pajamas. People used to say, "You guys are the perfect couple." Yeah. We had our routines. Dinner at 6. Bedtime stories. We were comfortable. Until one night changed everything. I was sitting on the couch, half watching TV, half scrolling the weather app to plan a weekend hike. Her phone buzzed on the charger beside me. Normally I ignore it. But this time, the message flashed right there on the screen. "Can't wait to see you. Hope you're wearing that blue set tonight, winky face." And I froze. The sender? Ryan. Her coworker. The guy she always called harmless. The same guy she once said reminded her of her brother. I stared at that message like it was a glitch in the Matrix. My heart didn't race. I didn't yell. I just stopped. 30 minutes later, Kate came downstairs. Hair curled, heels on, new dress. Expensive perfume. "I'm heading to Rachel's. Girls' night," she said, picking up her purse. She leaned in, aiming for a peck on the cheek. I turned away slightly. "You good?" she asked, pausing for a second. "Yeah," I lied. And then she was gone. I sat in that silence for a long time. Not thinking. Just feeling the weight of something cracking open. We've been through rough patches before. Busy schedules, stress, arguments over nothing. But this was different. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself it was a misunderstanding. But deep down I knew. This wasn't random flirting. It had history. And I realized something. I couldn't swallow it this time. I couldn't pretend. Something had broken. Maybe for good. A couple days after that message, I did something I never thought I would. I called a divorce attorney. Her name was Marcy Feldman. Late 40s, sharp as a tack, office downtown. The kind of woman who could break down a man twice her size with just a look. I didn't know what I wanted yet. I just needed to know what I was up against. I told her about Kate. About the message. About Ryan. She nodded, not surprised. Then, like a surgeon with a scalpel, she laid out the facts. "Colorado's a no-fault state," she said. "That means the court doesn't care who cheated. Infidelity doesn't affect property division or custody." "So what happens if I file?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Marcy didn't sugarcoat it. "Well, unless Kate's a proven danger to the kids, and I mean actual endangerment, she'll likely get primary custody. You'd get every other weekend, maybe a midweek dinner. 2 weeks in the summer." I just sat there, stunned. "And the house?" I asked. "Split," she replied. "But she's the one with primary custody. That usually means she stays, especially with the kids involved." So let me get this straight. I catch my wife cheating, and I'm the one who loses the house, the family time, and half my paycheck? I tried to joke it off. "What if I kick her out?" Marcy gave me a look. Bad idea. If she claims the environment was hostile or harmful to the kids, a judge could force you out. You'd be the one couch surfing. I ran a hand through my hair, leaning back in the chair. So what are my options? She hesitated. There's one that some people take, unofficially. It's called cheaper to keep her. Basically, you tolerate it. Keep things stable. Stay in the house, stay close to the kids. Not ideal, but less destructive. Tolerate it. Let her sneak around with Ryan, while I pretend we're still a family. I walked out of Mars's office dazed. Sat in the car for 10 minutes, just staring at the dashboard. I thought I was being smart, taking control. But the system? It didn't care about betrayal. It only cared about structure, stability, appearances. And if I made the first move, I'd lose everything that mattered to me. So now I had a choice. Swallow my pride, or risk losing my daughters. Neither option sat right. But one of them felt like the lesser hell. About a week later, I decided to stop pretending everything was fine. The kids were asleep, the house was quiet, and I opened a beer like it was armor. Kate was at the table, scrolling on her phone, pretending not to know why the air between us was ice cold. I sat down across from her. No small talk. Kate, we need to talk. She looked up, smiled like nothing was wrong. Sure. What's on your mind? I didn't dance around it. You and Ryan. She blinked. Pause. Then calmly. Jason, it's not what you think. I laughed bitterly. Then help me out. Because from what I saw, it looks like you're screwing a guy from work. Her face didn't flinch. She stayed eerily composed. I'm still your wife, Alex, she said. I still love you. I love our family. But Ryan, he gives me something I don't get from you right now. That, right now, stung like a slap. You're saying I'm not enough? I asked. No, she said quickly. It's not about enough. It's just different. Different. She said it like she was talking about ordering Thai instead of pizza. Let me get this straight, I said, trying to keep my voice from rising. You're in love with me, but you're dating Ryan on the side? She didn't blink. I don't see it as dating. It's just an arrangement. It helps me feel alive, but it doesn't change what we have. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And what do we have, Kate? A mortgage? Carpool duty? Because it sure as hell doesn't feel like a marriage anymore. Then she dropped it. The bomb I didn't see coming. Maybe we should talk about an open marriage. I stared at her, stunned. You're serious? She nodded. It would be honest. You could see other people too. We'd still be partners, raise the girls, but without all the pressure. I just sat there, like someone had pulled the floor out from under me. This was her solution. Keep the family, keep the routine, keep the house. And just schedule our lovers like dentist appointments. I stood up. My beer was warm and bitter in my hand. I can't do this, Kate. I'm not built for it. You want him? Have him. But I'm not sharing my life like it's a buffet. She reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped back. You made your choice. I'm just finally reacting to it. I left the kitchen and went downstairs, not to cool off, but to reclaim what little control I had left. That night, I took all her stuff, clothes, makeup, toiletries, and moved it into the guest room in the basement. When she came home the next day, she screamed, Alex, where are my things? I walked past her without slowing. In the basement. Figured it's easier if we stop pretending we're sharing a bed or a life. She followed me down the hall, furious. You're being childish. No, I'm being practical, I snapped. You want freedom? You've got it. I'm just giving us both some space to enjoy it. I shut the door behind me and didn't come out for hours. That was the first real line I drew. And I knew more were coming. The house was cold. Not from the weather, though Colorado winters can bite, but from everything that wasn't being said. Kate and I barely spoke unless it was about the girls. Even then, it was clipped. Mechanical. Can you pick up Lily from dance? Sophie has a dentist appointment Friday. Like we were co-workers forced to share a break room. She slept downstairs now. I didn't ask what she thought about it. I didn't care. I kept the routines, made breakfast, packed lunches, helped with homework, but everything else I detached. One night, she made my favorite dinner. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans with bacon. The girls were excited. Daddy! Mommy cooked your favorite. I thanked them. Not her. We sat at the table. Lily chatted about school. Sophie showed off a picture she drew. Kate kept looking at me. I didn't look back. After dinner, I did the dishes. Got the girls ready for bed. Read them a story. Kate tried to snuggle next to me when I got to bed. I pulled the sheet between us like a wall. She whispered, I miss you. I stayed silent. A few weeks went by like that. Quiet war. Kate still saw Ryan. I didn't ask. Didn't need to. She left some evenings in tight jeans and lipstick she hadn't worn in years. She always came home smelling like a stranger. So I started running. Early before dawn. At first it sucked. But by week 3, I started liking the silence, the rhythm, the burn in my legs. It was the first thing that felt like mine again. By spring, I knew I needed something to look forward to. Something outside this icy, polite nightmare we were calling a marriage. So I did something drastic. I bought a used camper trailer. 36 feet, bunk beds for the girls, small kitchen, bathroom, even a second little half bath. Enough space for real adventures. I found a used F-250 diesel, clean as a whistle, from a retired vet who just wanted to get out of the RV life. It cost a chunk, more than I'd ever spent on anything not bolted to a foundation, but I didn't flinch. I didn't tell Kate. One Friday, I picked the girls up from school and said, Pack your bags, ladies. We're going camping. They squealed. Is Mom coming? Nope. I said. This one's just us. We drove east, hit a quiet state park near the Nebraska border. Pine trees. Empty trails. Crickets loud enough to drown out your thoughts. The girls built a fort out of fallen branches, roasted marshmallows, played flashlight tag. They didn't ask about their mom again. At night, I lay in the trailer, listening to their breathing in the bunk room, and realized this was the first time I felt peace in over a year. Meanwhile, Kate was back home, complaining. She texted me, You're just taking off with them without even telling me? I didn't reply. I learned later from Lily that Kate called twice that weekend. Once to check in, once to say she had a headache. Neither of them mentioned Ryan. Smart girls. Back in the city, Kate was unraveling a bit. She vented to Ryan during one of their weekly lunch breaks. He's not even talking to me, she said, stabbing her salad with a plastic fork. Now he's buying campers and taking the girls without asking. Ryan leaned back. Isn't that what you wanted? Space? This isn't space. This is him punishing me. Ryan was quiet for a second, then asked, Are you sure you haven't pushed this too far? Kate blinked. Excuse me? I mean, you said you loved him. Wanted to keep the marriage. But you're still seeing me. And now he's pulling away. She scoffed. He's being dramatic. He always overreacts. Ryan shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe he's just done. It hit her harder than she let on. She spent the next few days working late, but didn't stop by Ryan's office. And when she came home, She barely looked at me, which was fine, because for the first time in years, I had a plan, and it didn't include asking permission. It started out simple, too simple to matter. Helen was part of a local biking group I joined just to stay sane. I needed something, anything, to pull my mind away from the circus at home. She was tall, sharp-eyed, and had this calm confidence I hadn't seen in a woman for a long time. She rode hard, didn't complain, and never once asked if I wanted to talk about it. That was refreshing. She was a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. Divorced. Had a 7-year-old daughter named Mia who clung to her the way Lily used to cling to Kate. They had the same tight bond one had with my girls, and I liked that about her. It started with friendly post-ride smoothies, then a lunch, then dinner. One night, after I'd dropped Lily and Sophie off at a friend's sleepover, Helen invited me over for a backyard fire pit hangout with Mia. That night, something shifted. Mia fell asleep on a beanbag near the patio heater, and Helen handed me a beer. She said, "You look like you haven't had someone be nice to you in a while." I didn't argue. She didn't try to solve my problems. She just made space for me to be there. Quietly. No expectations. I kissed her that night. The next morning, I expected guilt, shame, anything really. But I felt balanced. Calm even. For once, I didn't feel like the idiot who got cheated on and then begged for scraps. I never told Kate. Not because I was afraid, but because she didn't deserve to know. She made her choice. She had her fine. Mine was just delayed. In a weird way, it didn't feel like cheating. It felt like leveling the field. I kept the relationship quiet. Helen respected that. She didn't push for answers or promises. She knew the situation. Knew I was still technically married, still wading through the swamp. But she also knew how to show up. She texted me good morning. She asked how my day was, how the girls were doing. She cooked once a week and didn't freak out when Sophie knocked over a water glass. She made the house feel like home, even if it wasn't hers. Kate, on the other hand, was still in her own orbit. One evening, after I dropped the girls off from a weekend hike, Kate said, "You've been busy lately." I shrugged. Yeah. Work. Kids. Life. You're seeing someone. It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. I didn't say that. She narrowed her eyes. You didn't deny it either. I looked at her for a long time. Why does it matter? She didn't answer. Because it didn't matter. Not anymore. She just didn't like that I'd stopped playing her game. It was a Sunday afternoon when I finally said it out loud. The girls were at Kate's sister's house for a birthday party. Just the two of us in the kitchen, sun coming in through the blinds like it had no idea what was about to happen. She was sipping coffee like we were still two normal people. Like none of it happened. I sat across from her at the table. No build-up. No polite easing into it. I won out, Kate. She looked up. Blinked. Out? This marriage. It's over. You know it. I know it. We've been pretending for long enough. She didn't speak at first. Just stared at me like I'd said something in a foreign language. Then came the defense. But we've been doing better, she said. You and I, we've been coexisting. The girls are doing okay. I thought we found a rhythm. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was insane. We're strangers living in the same house. You're still seeing Ryan. I stopped myself. I've moved on emotionally. You just haven't noticed. That hit her. Not the words. The way I said them. Cold. Resigned. She set her mug down, leaned forward. Okay, listen. Maybe we don't need to end it. Maybe there's a middle ground. I raised an eyebrow. Such as? She hesitated. What if we keep the family unit intact, legally, for the girls? We keep the house. We share parenting. But we don't interfere in each other's personal lives. You mean you keep sleeping with Ryan and I keep pretending it doesn't matter? I'm saying we evolve, Alex. Like grown-ups. I stared at her for a long time. You know, for someone who loves me, you sure have a twisted way of showing it. Her eyes welled up. But I'd seen those tears before. They didn't move me anymore. I stood up. I'm done, Kate. I've given this every chance. I stayed longer than I should have because of the girls. Because I didn't want them to grow up in a broken home. I paused. But you broke it. And I'm done living in the ruins. She tried again, voice softer. We can fix it. We can go to therapy. I'll stop seeing him. You should have said that 6 months ago. That night, I opened a new folder on my laptop. Divorce prep. I started documenting everything. Her late nights out. The overnights. The missed school events. I kept track of which days she picked up the girls. Spoiler, not many. I pulled our financial records. Tracked every joint expense. Every Amazon order charged to our shared card. Every dinner that didn't include kids' meals. I met with Marcy again. This time, I was ready to play hardball. She nodded as I laid everything out. This'll help. Especially if you're seeking primary custody. I am, I said. The girls need stability. Not a revolving door of dinner dates and self-discovery. She smiled faintly. You're learning. I didn't smile back. Because none of this felt like winning. It just felt necessary. It didn't take long for the fantasy to crack. Ryan, the charming, escape hatch from our marriage, started pulling away the moment Kate stopped being someone else's wife. Funny how that works. At first, he made excuses. Work trips. Sick parents. Last-minute emergencies. She didn't want to see the pattern, but deep down she knew. One night, she confronted him at his condo. He didn't even invite her in. Look, Kate, he said, arms crossed, eyes already half glazed over. This was fun, but I'm not trying to play house here. She blinked, stunned. You said you wanted something real. He shook his head. I said I liked you. That's not the same thing. She stood there for a full minute, waiting for him to backpedal. But he didn't. You're on your own now, he added. That changes things. And just like that, the affair she thought would make her feel alive? It turned into a closed door and a deadbolt. A few days later, she came home early. No heels, no perfume. Just jeans, a hoodie, and eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in a week. I was making grilled cheese for the girls when she walked in. Hey, she said softly. Can we talk? The girls were watching TV. I nodded toward the back deck. We sat in silence for a bit. She was looking at her hands, twisting her fingers like they were puzzle pieces she couldn't solve. I made a mistake, she said finally. I didn't respond. I thought I could have both. I thought if I kept the marriage going, even halfway, and got what I needed from Ryan. She stopped, shook her head. I was stupid. Still, I said nothing. I want to come back. That's when I finally looked at her. Kate, you never left physically. But emotionally? You checked out months ago. I know. But I'm here now. I'm ready to fix it. I leaned forward, elbows on knees. There's nothing left to fix. She blinked. You're really done? I was done the night you offered to split me with someone else like a timeshare. She wiped her face. I still love you. I nodded slowly. That's your burden now. After that night, she lawyered up. Told herself if she couldn't win me back emotionally, Maybe she could legally file the petition. Demanded joint custody, half the assets, and use of the house. Marcy called me 2 days later, barely holding in a smirk. She hired David Laskin. I didn't know the name. Should I be worried? Only if you're a B-list celebrity with a cocaine problem. He's a peacock. Good for tabloid divorces, not family court. We started prepping. I compiled every school event I attended, every parent-teacher meeting, every dentist appointment, recital, sleepover I coordinated. Kate's side? She had a few drop-offs and 2 birthday parties she helped plan. That was it. Her lawyer argued that she deserved a fresh start. Mine showed the court calendar logs, texts from teachers, photos from every camping trip she opted out of. At one point during the mediation, Laskin leaned over to her and whispered, "You might want to consider settling. You're not coming out on top of this." She looked at me. I didn't flinch. For the first time since this mess started, I had leverage. Not revenge. Not spite. Just facts. It took 8 months. 8 months of paperwork, court dates, mediations, emails that read like war letters written in legalese. I showed up to every hearing in a suit and tie. Not because I wanted to impress anyone, but because I wanted the judge to know I respected the process, and that I was dead serious about protecting my daughters. Kate tried to paint the picture of a struggling mother just trying to reconnect with her kids. But the evidence spoke louder. The missed drop-offs. The 0 attendance at PTA meetings. The fact that Sophie's teacher didn't even know Kate existed until the day she showed up asking for report cards. When it was over, the ruling was short and clean. I got full physical custody. Kate got 1 supervised weekend visit a month, plus a video call every Wednesday, assuming she actually remembered to log in. Her face was blank in court, like she'd left her emotions in the glove box. But when the gavel came down, I saw it crack. Just a flicker in her eyes. Like she finally realized it was over. We sold the house a month later. It wasn't easy. 12 years of holidays, and first steps and birthday balloons packed into cardboard boxes. But it was time. The profits were split 50-50, per the agreement. I didn't fight her on that. Not because I was feeling generous, but because I didn't need to. She lost the thing that really mattered, the family. I used my share of the sale to put a down payment on a newer place, still in Colorado Springs, but on the edge of town. Fewer neighbors. Bigger yard. Space to breathe. And that's where Helen and Mia came in. She and I had been solid for a while. Never rushed it. But after the ruling, she looked at me and said, "If you're open to it, we'd like to join the chaos." So they moved in. It wasn't picture perfect at first, for people learning how to blend routines, share bathrooms, agree on movie night snacks. But it worked. The girls adored Mia. Called her bonus sister. Helen took to bedtime routines like she'd been doing them her whole life. She'd sit on the floor reading with Sophie, while Lily asked science questions she didn't actually want answers to. The house felt alive. No tension. No walking on eggshells. Just people who wanted to be there. Kate called one Saturday during her parenting time. She said she couldn't make it, something about a work trip that got extended. The girls barely reacted. Just shrugged and went back to painting. I ended the call, looked out the window at the 3 of them laughing on the porch. Paint in their hair. Popsicle stains on their shirts. And for the first time in years, I felt it. Peace. Not relief. Not triumph. Just peace. We moved into the new place at the start of summer. Big yard, wraparound porch, and most importantly, according to the girls, a pool. It wasn't some millionaire mansion. Just a good, solid house with room to grow. Room to heal. Helen took the guest room at first, said she didn't want to rush the stepmom energy. But it didn't take long before her toothbrush found a permanent home next to mine. Mia's art started showing up on the fridge beside Sophie's spelling tests and Lily's science projects. Every Saturday, we made pancakes from scratch. Not because we had to, just because it felt like ours. Sometimes the girls would ask about their mom. I never spoke badly about Kate. I didn't have to. Kids are sharp. They feel absence louder than words. She still had her monthly visits, but they felt more like formalities. Obligations, not joy. Sophie once asked, "Why does Mom look so sad when she picks us up?" I didn't answer, just gave her an extra squeeze. Kate was living in a small condo across town now. Same city, different planet. No backyard. No sounds of little feet in the hallway. No dinner table full of laughter and spilled milk. Ryan? Long gone. Blocked her on everything the moment she mentioned custody papers. Apparently, he wasn't built for real life after all. She reached out a few times after the divorce. Once to catch up. Once to ask if we could do family dinners. For the girls' sake. I said no. Not out of spite, just because I knew what she was really asking for. She wanted a taste of what she'd lost. But you don't get to walk back into the house after you burned it down. Helen and I, we kept things simple. We traveled, nothing fancy, just road trips and national parks. The girls loved it. Mia and Sophie became inseparable. Lily found her rhythm again. Helen and I laughed a lot. About dumb things. Groceries. Bad drivers. Inside jokes. She never made me feel like I had to perform. I didn't have to be enough for her. Just present. And real. One evening, after we got back from a trip to New Mexico, I found an old photo album while unpacking boxes in the garage. Pictures of the old house. Kate pregnant. Me building a crib. First Christmas. I flipped through it slowly. Not sad, not angry. Just quiet. It was a good reminder. Not everything that ends was a waste. But not everything worth keeping can be saved. Sometimes, people want everything. Freedom. Thrill. Comfort. Control. They think they can take what they want and still keep what they had. But life doesn't work like that. Kate thought she could rewrite the rules mid-game. What she didn't realize is, when you chase everything, you often end up with nothing. And sometimes, that's exactly what you deserve.